Go ahead and start the broadcast now. I want to thank everybody for taking the time out today to kind of hang out with us on their lunch break. It's really exciting. My name is Alicia Moore, and I am the Customer Experience Officer for Girl Scouts Louisiana East. This is one of the first Lunch and Learns in a 4-part series that we're going to be doing that's going to be held every Tuesday throughout the month of September. So in the spirit of efficiency, we'll go ahead and get started. But before we kind of get to that part, I want to talk about a few housekeeping items. So everyone obviously started in a listen-only mode or a mute, and that's obviously just to keep down any of the background noise or anything like that. But that doesn't mean that we don't want you to be engaged. We want you to go ahead and ask questions. Obviously, that's what this webinar is all about. So you can do that in 2 ways. You can go into the questions log and post your questions there, or you can go into the chat log and post your questions there. So feel free to do that throughout this time. As I said before, this is obviously here to promote facilitation of communication and feedback and stuff like that. So want to make sure you understand everything and that you're all set and ready to go. So let's get started. So this is our agenda for today. We'll kind of go over a few things, how we've changed, what that means for our volunteers, the web platform, which is a big part of the CEI initiative. eBiz, we'll talk about the current state of that platform and the future plans for it. The other thing is the member community, something I'm really excited about, and I think you all will be too. The opportunity catalog, which is also a new feature, we'll kind of get into that, be able to answer any questions that you have about that, and then have just a set time where we kind of go over questions with you all, just to kind of make sure we're all on the same page and that we're hearing some of the things that you have questions about. We'll wrap it up with resources that you can find on our website and the schedule for the upcoming webinar. So let's go on to the next part. So today when we're talking about what's changed, we have a special guest with us today. Her name is Debbie McDowell-Tate. Debbie comes to us with a lot of experience, and we're really happy to have her on the team. I was just telling her today I think she's pretty awesome sauce. So we're going to make sure that Debbie is connected. Debbie, can you hear us? Debbie?
Hey.
Gotcha.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Alicia. That is a very nice introduction there. So it's awesome. I am here with you. I've kind of been a little bit around the world. I've spent 25 years as a professional Girl Scout, 35 years overall, and I've done a lot of jobs in a lot of different places across the Southeast, but I'm proud to be here in Girl Scouts Louisiana East as your Director of Membership now. So we do have some other changes that are coming up particularly with the membership team, and how the membership team, what you used to know versus how they operate now. So formerly, we had a membership executive who was a generalist who was responsible for everything within her service unit. And now there's another change. We're now calling service units communities, and this was a little bit prompted by language that CEI uses. CEI uses the language of community versus service unit, and certainly community makes more sense to those outside Girl Scouting as a word for what they're looking for versus a service unit. So we have adapted our language there. Service units are now communities. Anywhere you saw a service unit administrator, those roles have changed to community administrator. So it is really just, in some ways, a change of title to make.
Debbie, we're saying that we're having a pretty bad connection with you. Some of the listeners are saying that. Let's see if we can get that updated and changed. Hold on for just a second. Okay, Debbie, can you try talking again? Let's see, maybe the connection will kind of clear up for us.
Okay. Can you all hear me better this time?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I was speaking about some of the changes that are happening with the membership team. Uh, we are looking at, first the changes where you've seen that we have gone from the language of service unit to the language of community. And that was in part prompted by how CEI actually refers to things. Talk about communities versus service units in the opportunity catalog. It is a word that resonates external to Girl Scouts because a service unit doesn't mean very much to them. So we've adopted that language. The service units are now communities, and people who serve on the service unit team now serve on the community team, and their position titles have been changed to reflect that. But then we look at the membership staff, which you always knew as a membership executive. Membership executives had to be everything to everybody. They were a bit of a generalist who was responsible for both recruitment and retention within their assigned service units, what is now communities. And I always equated this to, I used a car sales analogy. Not only were they responsible for selling you the car, but when the car broke down on the side of the road, they came out and they fixed the car. And there's very few people who have skills on both sides of that equation. Some people are really great at selling and persuading in that way, but maybe don't have the greatest skills in support and being able to negotiate and do conflict resolution and those kinds of things that are required on the fixing the car and things, if within the sort of the Girl Scout model, if you use that analogy. So now, somewhat as prompted by CEI, but it's something that we've been talking about within the movement for a long time, we are actually dividing that role up and allowing folks to do what they are best in the world at, to really hone in on the skill sets of sales and the skill sets of retention. So the former membership executive role is now divided into 3 roles who are operating in a larger geography, but with only a specific pieces of the former role that belong to them now. So we have 3 new titles. They're external recruiting specialist, internal recruiting specialist, and troop support specialist. If you see these slide on your screen, and you see phase 1, which is lead generation. Well, that is the world of the external recruiting specialist. External recruiting specialist, working with you all in the communities, working with the volunteer recruiters, is the face of Girl Scouting. That is the person who's putting the back to school campaign together. They're the person who's working with the recruiters within your service unit and the community administrators to put together those back to troop campaigns, all of those Girl Scout information nights. They are generating leads. Wherever they go, they are generating leads. People who are interested in coming into Girl Scouts, either as girl members, as parents of girl members, or most importantly, perhaps as volunteers within Girl Scouts. Their partner in the recruitment process is the internal recruiting specialist. She takes over at phase 2. So she is the person who is the voice on the telephone, or the fingers behind the email that's received by a new volunteer, or a parent who's looking for a Girl Scout troop for their child. That's the person who sort of takes care of the opportunity catalog, and we're going to talk more about that later. They're the person who basically brings people in through the intake process, whether that be a girl and her family who are coming in, or that be a volunteer who's coming in. They help them through the process of joining Girl Scouts. With a volunteer, they help them through the process of not only joining Girl Scouts, but getting their background screening done, watching the welcome email, and then getting them assigned or appointed into a position. Then we move to phase 3 and phase 4, and that is the service after the sale. That's my terminology, the service after the sale. So once a new volunteer comes in and she's been appointed, she's then transitioned to the troop support specialist. The troop support specialist will work with volunteers within her community to do face-to-face orientation with the new leaders and to get them started on the right foot in Girl Scouting, and be there to support them, as well as supporting all of our existing volunteers. Their primary role is retention and support. So they're there to ensure that our troops and our volunteers have a really good Girl Scout year so that at the end of the year or towards spring, as you all know, to re-engage in Girl Scouts and re-register for another year of Girl Scouting. It is a system that I believe is going to certainly increase efficiencies for us. It is a process that is going to increase customer satisfaction, both for you all as existing members of the movement, but for our new folks who are coming in. You know, over the 25 years that I've been a Girl Scout professional, one of the things that we say over and over, it is so hard to volunteer for Girl Scouts. The first year is so hard. The process for becoming a Girl Scout volunteer is so hard. So hopefully with CEI and with the focusing our membership team on very specialized roles, we're going to be able to bring our volunteers on board, our new volunteers on board very quickly. Moving that from sometimes what was weeks to bring them on board to hopefully moving that to days to bring them on board, to get them through the background process and get them into orientation on their way meeting with girls in the troops. And with that, I will, Alicia, do you want me to open up for questions at this point, or do you want to keep going and we will maybe address some of the questions as we go through the presentation?
If anybody has a question right now, you can post it in the questions log and we'll kind of go through those questions. If anybody has a question right now, go ahead and post it. I'll wait a moment just to see if anything comes up, Debbie, and then we'll move on. All right, I don't see anything, so what I'm going to do is hand it over. Debbie is going to stay on the line with us just to kind of make sure if any questions come up, she'll be able to answer them. So I'm going to switch my screen just a bit so that you guys can see our next part of our presentation, which is going to be the web platform. So thank you, Debbie, though, for explaining that very important part of our new process. So.
You're welcome.
All right, so the web platform. So many of you have seen this. Obviously, we've been live on the web platform since October, I believe, of last year. And with this, you'll kind of start to see, as now we are officially live on the entire system, you'll start to see a lot of enhancements to this. So this is our web platform. This is our website. I won't take you through every part of it, but I just kind of wanted to highlight certain areas of it. So this is our homepage, obviously. Pretty much what it does give you is a kind of snapshot of what is happening in the council. So as I kind of scroll down, this is some really great stories, news releases, and things like that that have happened. As you see here, the Join Now, Join Today links, and the volunteer links. Those links are for new volunteers or new potential girls where they would go and kind of fill out that interest form to start that process of joining our movement. So as you scroll down here, you see the big kickoff for our big event. Just kind of has a lot of stories about what is actually happening in the council. Upcoming events, this is kind of give you a snapshot again, and we'll talk a little bit about the events tab and how you can kind of see a whole our whole catalog of all of the things that are going on in the council. The other thing that is here at the bottom is the news. So these are, anytime we have any updates or our Marcom team has done a really good job of promoting us in the community, these are where those stories will be. Obviously at the bottom you can connect to us through social media, so that's available as well. So pretty much the homepage is just a snapshot of everything. The other thing that I want to take you through is the form section. A lot of times people are saying, well, how do we find stuff? How do we find the stuff that we need? This is our form section. It has here on the top the most frequently accessed forms. But that doesn't mean that you won't be able to access any other forms. So you can just click in the search box and type in any forms that you're looking for, and they should pop up. These are just the most frequently accessed forms for that particular time, and obviously throughout the membership year, that information that'll change. So that's really great thing about this system, is very intuitive. It has some information about the opportunity catalog, some things that we've posted there, some FAQs. We'll talk a little bit more about that in the future, but just another resource and things for you in that area. The other thing that I'm really excited about is the calendar area. So again, I told you that you can kind of break down your events in different categories: financial literacy, girl leadership, or you can break them down in terms of months. They're color coded. It's very exciting. I think this is really very functional, and it's very appealing to the eye. So you can see a snapshot of all of the great things that are happening in our council by month, and it's all there for you. So that's a really great piece. The other thing that I think is super awesome is our contact us tab. So um, we've talked a lot about being able to be customer centric and customer service. So this is our contact us form, and what this does is if you can submit a question to us, and it actually goes into our back office, and our customer care team, which is a new feature in our service delivery aspect of our operating model, where their sole job is to answer your questions. And so this ensures that questions don't get lost, or somebody doesn't follow up. So this is a wonderful tool. I want to encourage you to use it. Go ahead and put your contact, your name, your email address, and the type of question that you have. So you see that Troop supports. If you have a question about maybe a service unit meeting or a community meeting, service area support, what that means is if you're a community level volunteer and you have questions, then it will go to the proper person for that. If you have product sales questions, we have fall that is coming up, fall product and the cookie sale. So those specific type questions will go to that queue. The registration, recruitment, shop, giving, so donations and things like that, all of that will be available there as well. So you can type in, type in your type of question, subject line, and put that information in, and it'll actually go to the right person. So this is just one of the aspects of the customer care team. We'll kind of talk a little bit more about that in the future. The next thing is our eBiz tab. So one of the things that I love about this project is that it's kind of layering things on. Change is difficult for us, as you know. I think it's difficult for anybody, but it's kind of preparing us to go a little bit at a time. And so one of the big changes is that now eBiz used to be our system where we go and register to become a member. That no longer is the case. You will go through our Join Now links, our Volunteer Now, and our member community, and that's where you will actually go to register to become a Girl Scout. The eBiz site, though, what it is still currently used for is registration for program events or things like that, big events. So if you're registering for the big event, this is where you would go to put in your registration. Eventually, once we move to activities, this will phase out, and we'll just have one platform for everything. But right now, I wanted to make sure that there was some clarity about what eBiz can do for you now and where you should be going for membership. So to clarify, eBiz for program events and registration or trainings and things like that. Member community, which is what we're going to get into in just a few minutes, that is where you go to do your registration overall. So let me make sure I don't have any questions. All right. Again, I want to encourage you, if you do have any questions, to post them in the questions link as well as in the chat box, if so we can get those answered for you. All right, so I'm going to switch over my screen just a bit and talk about the next thing in our tab is going to be our member community. Okay, so just hold a second while I do that. All right, so our member community, hopefully everyone can see my screen. It should be a green screen, says member community. So the member community is essentially is where you would go. You would find this on the link under My GS on the website, and I'll go back to it and I'll kind of show you what that is. But pretty much this is where you go for all of your troop information, all kinds of stuff. This is kind of like your command center, I would say, to the movement. So how do you gain access? So in August 9th, Daisy and Brownie Jr. direct primary leaders. So what that means is the troop leadership team, or if you're kind of old school, then it was your O1s and your O2s. They were the persons, they should have received this email here, which kind of talks about the volunteer toolkit, and we'll kind of talk about that. So this was the email that they received on August 9th. On August 10th, all members in our community received a community login. So if you're a parent or if you're a troop leader, you should have received this particular login. If you didn't, then don't worry about it. You can contact us on customer care, and we can reset your password so that you'll be able to access this exciting tool. So I'm going to change over again and make sure I don't have any questions, just so I can kind of show you a demo of our new program. So with that, hold on just a second. All right, so you should see my GS here, and it's highlighted in like a yellow. So when you click on that, what you're actually seeing, it'll kind of take you to the volunteer toolkit. That's going to be a topic for next week on our webinar. But the other thing it'll take you to is the member profile, and we'll talk about that right now. So I'm going to switch up. So this is one of our volunteers. Her name's Tanya Palazzolo. She's pretty awesome. She gave me permission to kind of use her troop. She's a really good representative of how things should look in your member community. So when you log in, everyone, whether you're a parent or a troop leader, will have their membership tab. The membership tab pretty much just gives you an overview of your household's membership, right? So this is Tanya. This is all of her roles that she currently holds in the council. So she has our adult membership. She's also serving on the community team, and so this kind of gives you that information. You can toggle back and forth between the current year and next year, right? So when you do that, it'll take just a second. So when you do that, you see that she's already renewed for the 2017 year. She does have to renew some of her roles for the 2017 year. So when you do that, when you're renewing a role, it does not mean that you are you have to pay again or anything like that. It is just saying that you're signing up for a particular role. And I want to stress that that is important when you talk about reporting. For those of you on a community level, they'll use this reporting tool to be able to send you rosters and things like that. So it's really important for everyone to go in and identify the different types of roles that you're going to be serving in. So when you go here, when it's time to renew, you have the option to renew or don't renew, or you say, hey, I'll decide later. If you decide not to renew, then your membership will be turned into inactive for as soon as the new year, that particular membership year arrives. So October 1, you'll be listed as an inactive, and that's the same for any girl that will happen, that you'll have in your troop. So this is her membership. This is for her family and her roles. The next tab will be your troop tab, and it's just coming up. So you see here, Tanya is serving on a community level, so you have a drop-down box. The community level will be something that is expanded upon as we kind of move through the CEI process, but right now it's very generic in the features and functionalities in that. So I'm going to be able to toggle down to her troop. So while we're waiting for that to load, see, it gives you a roster of all of your girls in your troop, what their current membership status is. You have the ability in the edit portion to go ahead and edit any information for that girl. So if she changed her address or anything like that, you have the ability to go in and do that. So if you scroll down to the bottom, these are all of the girls that are in her particular troop. Right, and as you can see, that this young lady is not renewed for the 2016 year, so she was obviously must have been inactive for the 2016 year. So same as in before, you could always toggle over to the next year. You can renew all of your girls at one time. So if you want to renew for the 2017 year, you can go ahead and do that. As you see, I toggled over to the 2017 year, and this is a list of all of my girls, all of the girls in that troop. And it'll tell you that these particular girls have not renewed. So she'll have the same ability to go in and say, do not renew, or I'll decide later. Again, I want to stress to you that if they don't renew by October 1, then they'll be listed as inactive. They won't necessarily go away, but they will be listed as inactive. So the other thing that you can do down here at the bottom is you'll be able to see all of the roles for all the different adults that are in the troop. So she can go in and kind of manage her entire troop from this one portal. She can renew members, she can add or edit their information as well. As you can see, the CBC expiration date, if any leaders that are currently serving that are in leadership roles that require a CBC, she'll see that information there and see that it's time to renew and things like that. So very intuitive system, really great way for you to kind of manage your entire troop in one space. Again, if anyone has any different types of roles that they can go ahead and renew those roles here. I'm going to click all the way down to the bottom. Here's another important part is the view edit troop information. So this is the information that is actually going to be on your opportunity catalog. The current meeting name and location, currently we only, you'll see that that is grayed out. If you want to change that, then you can send some information to customer care and submit a ticket there. But what we do is we only do cross streets. So for your current meeting location, we only do cross streets there. So there is a bit of a restriction there, and obviously that's for safety purposes and things like that. But you can update your meeting day, how often you meet, what time your meeting is actually going to be, and your program level. So if you're a Daisy Brownie Junior or a multi-level troop, then you have the ability to update that information here. The desired number of girls, the default is 12, but if you want to take additional girls into into your troop, then you have the ability to do so there. If you want to put your meeting location information, you can do so in this corner here to the right and add that information in. So again, really intuitive system. Really think you all are really liking it, and I think it's a very good way for you to be able to kind of manage things throughout that process. So I'm going to open it up and see if we have any questions or anything about this particular part. Okay, no. Debbie, I think we're just doing a great job. That's why nobody has any questions. So I'll move on. Okay. So the other thing that I want to show you here, as I'm going down to the bottom, is you have the ability to search for different options. I'm going to toggle back because, go up here. So opportunities. So the opportunity catalog, as I showed you at the bottom, the information that is listed under your troop information, that will go into the opportunity catalog. So what the opportunity catalog is really a customer-driven placement tool. So what you guys are doing, customers can go in, search by zip code, and I'll show you that here. This is how you'll be able to do that. Why is it having some trouble right now? Looking for the ad screen here. Okay, so I can add. So if you go here to the add a role, what it's going to do is actually take you to the opportunity catalog, and as I said, that's a customer-driven placement tool. So I can go in, if I'm looking for a volunteer opportunity, or I'm looking for a troop opportunity, and I'm a girl or a parent that is looking for one for my daughter. What you can do here is actually go into the troop screen and actually select a volunteer role. Once you put in troop, you see how it's listed there. It needs to say troop and whatever your 5-digit troop number. So if you're looking for a particular troop, it needs to read just like this. So troop and whatever the 5-digit troop number would be. If you're looking for a particular zip code, then you'll be able to put your zip code information there. It will default to kind of where you're located, but if you want to extend your radius, then you'll have the ability to do so by doing 20 miles or so. I think it goes all the way up to 50, so you'll have the ability to do that. Once you do that and hit search, then the opportunities that are in that area will show up at the bottom. So You can change your display roles for that. If you want to display by 50 or by 10, then you'll have the ability to do so at that point. So really great tool, really great opportunity for customers to go in and be able to talk about be able to sign up for troops. So what's happening on the back end for you, if you're a leader, I go in and I sign up my daughter for your particular troop, you're going to get an email that says, you know, Alicia just joined your troop. Please reach out to her and kind of welcome her to your troop. So that is essentially the opportunity catalog in a nutshell. I'm going to toggle back so that I can show you all the different opportunities that are available there. So this screen here shows the volunteer opportunities on a troop level. So the troop leadership team, obviously, that's your former O1s and O2s, but you're a leadership team now. Your product managers for fall and for cookies, first aiders, camp volunteers, so everybody, you know, you have to have a camp certified person. The friends and family network is something that is a new language to it, but essentially what it is it's just your registered parents to the troop. So if you have parents who, they're not necessarily in a leadership role, but they're just helpers, this is where they would select that particular role. If you're going to be serving on a community level, your community leadership team is obviously going to be your former service unit team. And those people that make up that team, you can sign up to be the product manager for fall and cookies, the publicity rep, recruiter, camp coordinator, and a new role, GSLE coach / facilitator. So those are just some of the opportunities that that are available on the opportunity catalog. So I want to open it up now. This is the opportunity for questions. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, we see that Mona has a question. So did I answer your question, Mona? How do you add a role? Okay, let's go over it again. So I'm going to switch up for just a second. I'll take you through that part again. So Mona, you see here, hopefully you can see my screen, and I'm on the membership level for my particular troop. So this is Tanya's troop. If Tanya herself wanted to add a role for herself, then she can go into the bottom here and go to add a role. Okay. Once she does that, if she has a specific troop that she is going to, then she needs to put that troop's information in that particular part there. So let's go with, I'm going to use this particular troop, and I'm going to expand my radius. So you need to put in your zip code in that particular box there, and then expand your radius out to as far as you can. So as you can see, this is how, once I put that information in, if you're looking for a particular troop, then you would put that information, troop 42605, if that was the troop you were looking for. If you didn't have any troop information, then what you would put in simply is your zip code. So you would put that information in. Once you do that, all of the opportunities that are in that area within that radius is going to actually show up. So if I'm saying, you know what, I want to serve as this troop cookie manager for this particular troop, then what I would do is I would select that. A little pop-up is going to come up and say, hey, this is, you know, what this role entails. It'll kind of give you a kind of description of it, where the meeting location will be held. It should say the start date. We'll have to update that information, but the start date should be October 1 through September 30th of 2017, and that is because it will last throughout that membership year. So it'll tell you how many volunteers are needed in that area. So for the Friends and Family Network, you start out with 20, but you know they already have some people that are registered to that troop that are serving in that role. And so you'll see that updated information there. Once you have all of your required volunteers, then it will automatically eliminate itself from the opportunity catalog. So with the troop leadership team, you only need 2 to start, but we've added 4 in. So you can start your troop with two members, but it'll stay on the opportunity catalog until you have 4, and that's just to kind of make sure that you have enough help or leave room for troops who may have like larger troops. So that'll kind of give them that ability to do that. So hopefully that answered your question, Mona. Let me know if it did not. Okay, what about a community leader? So it's the same concept. You would do the exact same thing. So if I toggled up to the top and I just put in the opportunities that are available in that particular zip code, then it would come up. If I'm looking for a community leadership role, then what will happen there? I need to put in COMM and whatever your community number will be. So it's pretty much the same concept for a troop leader, girl, community leader, and whatever role you're serving. That is how you would change or add a role. Great question, though. Did that answer your question? Great. All right. So we'll kind of move on. The other thing that I wanted to, if you have any other questions, please post them there. And while you're doing that, I wanted to speak to you guys about the background check information. So one of the things that has been a really big issue this year has been the background check. So it's always our goal to communicate things in a timely manner and kind of update you guys on our council processes as they change. And the increase in background check, what they said that some people have kind of felt a little blindsided by that, by the increase. And quite frankly, we were as well. A product on, and we assumed that it was a dollar increase for that particular product. And it wasn't until we actually began to get feedback from you all, from the volunteers who were signing up, that we realized that that product had increased. So we do apologize for that. And I want you guys to know that we are actively exploring other options for background checks. And once we kind of get those things squared away, we'll release a statement of our apology, obviously, in our plan moving forward. We intend to get that out to troops and to our membership at the beginning of next week. So just kind of wanted to make sure we're on the same page about that, and to kind of make sure that we're addressing some of those issues that have come with regards to the background check. So let me know if you have any questions about that. All right. So if we don't have any other questions, I do want to kind of bring it to our resources and things like that. So I'll switch up. So here are some of our CEI resources. As I told you before, the customer care team is pretty much your guide through this process. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to our customer care team. You can use the contact us form, which I showed you at the beginning of this presentation. It's really effective. It'll go into a queue, and that's the really important thing. You can put where it needs to go for the specific person or team that needs to answer that question. You can email us at customercare@gsla.org. It'll follow the same process. Or you can call us at our 1-800 number, 1-800-644-7571, or you can visit one of our service centers. So we have a service center in New Orleans on Clearview Drive, and one in Baton Rouge on I'm having a blank right now. We'll have one in Baton Rouge as well. on Colonial Drive. I
Colonial.
apologize.
Yeah.
Yep. I was like, wait, I was having a brain freeze. Thank you, Debbie. So the other thing I wanted to point out to you all as well is that we're going to be open from 8:30 to 5:30 now, Monday through Friday. That is inclusive of the shop as well as the customer care team. So we kind of extended those hours to ensure that we were, being more customer centric and that you guys will have an opportunity to get your questions answered. Um, and things like that. So just to FYI on that, please, come in and visit us. We want you to, we want to be here to be here to serve you and things like that. Make sure that you're getting all your needs met. The other thing is going to be our Lunch and Learn webinar. So this, as I said in the beginning, this is the first of a four-part series. And, we'll be happy to add additional stuff, as we kind of go through this process. Today we just kind of had an intro to CEI, just kind of going over some of the basics. Next week we'll get into the volunteer toolkit, which is one of the things that I'm really excited about as well, that I think will be a great tool for you. September 20th, if you were kind of wanted this to be really fluid, so if you guys have any questions or things that come up that you say, hey, we really need to kind of cover this, I'm really having an issue with this, or could you explain this? Troops are talking about this if you're a community leader. You can send those questions to me at amore@gsle.org, and we'll be sure to talk about that. So let me know if you have any questions. That's our, kind of our Lunch and Learn schedule. Be sure to share. We're going to record this. This is actually being recorded. We'll post it to our YouTube channel as well as post it to our website so that people can go back and listen to it. So if you don't, I'll open it up again to see if I have any other questions. Debbie, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, just thank you for all that you are doing. We certainly, Girl Scouting is a partnership between staff and volunteers, and without our volunteers, we cannot serve our girls. And just a huge thank you for all you're doing.
Yeah, I agree with that. Well, so thank you. Thank you for everything that you're doing, this, as Debbie said. And don't forget to post those questions if you have any, amore@gsle.org. And we hope to see you next week. Thank you.
Thank you.